Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Women Winning Wednesdays. I'm your host, attorney Elsa W. Smith, and I'm the owner of the law offices of Elsa W. Smith, where our mission is to empower women through estate planning. We have a special treat for you today, but before I tell you a bit about our guest, today is American Business Women's Day. American Business Women's Day is an American holiday, nationally recognized on September 22nd. The date marks the 1949 founding date of the American Business Women's Association. The holiday was recognized in 1983 and as well as 1986 by congressional resolution and a proclamation issued by President Ronald Reagan. It commemorates the important legacy and the contributions of millions of American working women and women business owners. I'm a member of ABWA and have been a member since 2018. I'm also the vice president of the Maryland Capital Chapter. So to my sisters here and all the way in Hawaii, happy American Business Women's Day. So as a reminder, we are streaming on StreamYard, so please give them permission to view your comments. You can do that by going to StreamYard.com/Facebook, StreamYard.com/Facebook. And say hi, tell us where you're watching from. And by the way, if you catch this on the replay, make sure and put #replay in the comments. Now, to our guest for today. I am so excited to bring you our guest today. Her name is Amanda Campbell. She's an amazing, she's just a rock star and as well as a beautiful person. But let me tell you just a few things about her. And she's got a pretty extensive bio. She has been in the financial services industry since 2010. She is a certified financial planner. She's a certified divorce financial analyst, and she's got like an alphabet soup of other credentials. Too long to mention here, but I'll let her tell you a bit more about that. She is a member of the Howard County Collaborative Professionals Group. She is an author, and I'm excited to have you tell you about the book that she's co-authored. And she is a wife and a mom. I'm so excited to bring you Amanda Campbell. And here she is. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, thank you. That was such a wonderful intro. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So I'm really jazzed to have you on the show today. We've got so much good stuff to talk about. We're gonna, talk about what a certified divorce financial analyst does. We're going to talk about challenges you've faced and all that good stuff, and getting into your why and how you help women with challenging money stories. So, I told the audience a bit about you. What have I missed? What should they know about you, about the amazing Amanda Campbell?
Well, I think the most important thing is I am extraordinarily passionate about seeing women feel financially secure and financially empowered by their wealth. It's something that I think most women don't get access to, right? A lot of resources are out there for men to feel really good about their money, but I am extraordinarily passionate about making sure that every woman I come into contact with feels really good about her wealth and understands it in a real and meaningful way. So I'm thrilled to talk to you about that today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So listen, let's get right into it. We've got a lot to talk about today. Give us an example of a typical client that you serve, and how do you serve them? Just kind of walk us through that process.
Sure. So I service mostly women, and especially those who are suddenly single, whether by divorce or widowhood. And I can go into my why on that later because it's expensive. But a typical client for me, again, either going through divorce or has find themselves suddenly in charge of their own wealth, whether by choice or by natural circumstances, right? Something happens. And what I do for her is really help her to gather all of her financial information, finally get it all in one spot and start to make sense of it, right? We start by building a net worth. So looking at that woman's assets and liabilities and showing her how far she's come. A lot of women say to me, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I had amassed that in my lifetime. So I always start by doing that and making sure we give ourselves a pat on the back, because it is so easy as women to constantly be looking for that next benchmark or think that we haven't done enough. I always start with a nice pat on the back for where we've come and gratitude for where we've come so far. Then we go into the more hard work of building a cash flow, right? Because it's good to know what money and wealth you have. It's also really great to know how that money is going to service you in the short and long-term future. So really helping women to understand money coming into the household, money going out of the household, and what that means over the long term. But to overuse a term that's in my industry, I am a holistic financial planner, meaning I know, and everyone laughs, but I do.
No, I mean, it's important. I mean, yeah, but yes, I have heard that used quite a bit, but it's important.
It is. It is. And in that fashion, I help women to understand truly everything about their financial life. Because at the end of the day, 99% of the things we do has to do with our finances, right? Everyday life, it somehow is embroiled with our money, our wealth. So making sure they have the right insurances, making sure that they have the right attorneys helping them, making sure they have their estate plans done, right, Elsa? All that crazy important stuff that I think as women, you know, trying to check off our to-do list, our daily list, that stuff, the really big important stuff, we push it to the back. So I'm your cheerleader in the back, your personal CFO, who is constantly going to remind you to put yourself first and do those really big important things.
It sounds like you really take a personal approach, a very client-centered approach to how you care for the people that come to see you. How did you come into this space in the financial industry? And now I'm going to ask you for your why.
Yes. So here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Yes. Well, and my kind of way I deal with clients is I say, I either treat you like my own mom or like my own sister or best friend, right? Because you're sharing something so intimate with me, your finances, your wealth, right? That's a very intimate thing for most people to let somebody in that way. So yeah, I meet you where you are and I want you to know you can trust me, which leads to my why. So the reason I'm so passionate about helping women with their wealth and to feel really good about it is because my father passed when I was 12. And thank you. And I had to watch my mother, who is Puerto Rican. So she came here when she was 32 to start a family, start a life with my father. And, you know, she had always spoken Spanish. And it was, you know, when my father passed, she had to learn to really speak for herself in English, nonetheless, for the first time in her life. And that also meant speaking for herself in terms of taking over the household, right? Understanding where all of the accounts were, understanding, you know, where the mortgage was kept, understanding how to pay the bills. In watching her struggle to figure all of that out, I realized that there was nobody like me who could help her, right? There weren't necessarily women in the financial planning profession. And my parents did not have a financial planner. That wasn't something I even knew existed back then, right? But I was also surprised that even when she would call a bank, there was no one who really wanted to take the time to hold her hand. So I realized, you know, after college and kind of leaning back on that life experience, I wanted to be that person. I wanted to grow into the financial advisor that I wished my mom would have had during such an inflection point in her life. And I've loved every minute since. I always say I can't imagine what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this.
That's so powerful. And I was looking forward to you sharing that story for a couple of reasons. And we talked during the show prep that I'm Afro-Cuban, and the fact that we have that commonality of having Latin roots and stuff is real special. But to that, touching on that point, being Afro-Cuban and a woman, I still had to venture into many professional spaces where I was the only one. Insert woman of color, insert Latina, it's like the trifecta at least. I'm curious if you had similar experiences, and if so, how did you navigate those spaces?
Absolutely. And gosh, I'm sure we've all had similar experiences, right? But, absolutely. Walking into any type of established networking community or established organization is always hard. Number one, I always tell people it's hard. Your first day is hard, right? But walking in as a young Latina woman, I always joked it was my own trifecta, right? You just walk into this sea of middle-aged white men, and sometimes it was hard to even get a handshake or have somebody even acknowledge your presence just so you could introduce yourself. I remember one time I introduced myself. There was a group of men talking, and I just walked up to one of them and waited for a lull in conversation, introduced myself, and he didn't even take his eyes off of the person that he wanted to continue talking to. And it is hard walking into those male-dominated organizations and in this industry, because to find another woman is almost like a lifeline sometimes, right? And
Yeah.
you reach out and hopefully they're reciprocating in that way. But a lot of times it's hard in that way too, right? They've also been raised and groomed to just fit in and be part of the good old boys club. So I think it is interesting to kind of see and feel those moments of, wow, I'm brand new here. And I know it's going to be a little bit tougher for me than if I look different or was of a different gender. But I think it almost gives me more fire.
Now, we typically, as women, we're told, take up a sport, play golf. Now, with me, I'm a little biased because a lot of the men in my family growing up, they played golf. It was like religion. But typically, women are like, well, take up golf because that's the golf courses where business deals are made. And, you just kind of fall in like, well, if I want to gain business, if I want to, develop networks, that's where to do it. Some people, I had another guest on not too long ago where her forte was the basketball court. That's where she shined. So, but you kind of bucked it. You're like, no, tell us about, you're like, no, I'm not doing it. Tell us about that.
Oh my goodness. So it's even so funny too, because my husband is an extraordinarily avid golf player.
Okay.
Scratch golf. He was captain of the golf team in college where we met, like golf. My best friends in college, golf. Maybe I had enough. I don't know. And truly, I've tried. It is not for me. And so many people in my professional arena were like, Amanda, just go to the golf course when your husband's doing his thing and learn. It was not authentic to me. I don't enjoy it. I can't even remember the last time I watched my husband go hit balls at the range. Like, it is just not, it is not something that I enjoy. And, for years, people were like, just give it a try, come to the range. And I just decided I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I would prefer to meet women another way. And I've been told you're missing out on business, but I don't think that's true, right? I've found that the clients that I enjoy meeting with, right? I have a client, she loves for me to come to tea in her garden. That's how we meet. She says,
I love that.
It's so sweet. She goes, I'll make us a pot of tea. She keeps a meticulous garden, and we sit in her garden and we talk about her portfolio. I have other clients that are
like my love language.
I love it. I'm always like, yeah. I have other clients that are like, can we meet for a salad and a glass of wine for happy hour? Love it. I don't in any way, shape, or form feel like I drew the short straw because I'm not authentically attracted to golf or sporting events. I have beautiful women that I serve in other ways.
So it sounds like you really are attuned. You know exactly who your ideal client is, who you are in, you feel like you're in your zone of genius when you're serving that particular person. And you're walking and standing in your truth. I mean, you are being true to who you are, which is a lesson to so many of us, professional women and otherwise, just to stand in our truth. If it's not you, don't try to fit yourself into a mold that may not speak to who you really are. Thank you so much for sharing that. Did you ever have what I call a crossroads experience, meaning that an event that made you question whether you should be doing this? And to the extent that you feel comfortable, I'm sure that the audience would really appreciate that, because, a lot of the people that I brought on the show, I mean, pretty much all of them are rock stars in their particular fields, but it's also important to show the human side, the fact that, as professional women, there are moments where we have doubts. So what were yours, if you would, please? Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So I think the one that always sticks out most to me in my career, and I'm so glad I pushed forward, after receiving my Certified Divorce Financial Analyst designation, my CDFA, which I'd worked so hard for. And I truly believed in getting that designation and it helping women. I was finally able to put it on my business cards, and I was just so excited. And I had a senior partner of my firm kind of sit me down in a conference room and basically say to me, we're all internally very proud that you got that. But I don't think that's something that you need to share externally. You don't need to put that on your business card. If you market to such a small niche of the population, right? People going through divorce, look at the rest of the world that you're excluding. You're no longer saying, I can help everyone. You're saying, I can help this part of the population. You don't want to do that. You want all business. And in that moment, I had this moment where I was like, okay, well then maybe this entire profession isn't what I thought it was going to be, right? Maybe I'm not the right person to sit here and advise everyone on their retirement and financial plans, because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to help women, and I knew I wanted to help them through divorce and all that. And in that moment, even though that was almost 10 years ago now.
Wow.
Right. After I had gotten over the hump of maybe this isn't what I should do, I very quickly turned to, I think you're wrong. I think you are really wrong.
How did you get there? Was it just remembering your why? I mean, and that process, I mean, did it happen instantly? Like you had an aha moment, or like, how did that happen?
So I think number one, it was being true to myself and remembering why I had gotten into this in the first place, which was because I wanted to help people like my mother. And I think number two, back around 10 years ago was when the idea of niching really started to, I think, take place and take form. And I had remember reading articles. They were all very new and still on the fringe. And so I think kind of fueled by those two things, I was like, I think we're kind of on the cusp of needing specialties and needing to be experts in the people we serve. And even 10 years ago almost, I was like, I think you're wrong. I think this is going to be an asset if I choose who I service. And not only do I serve them okay or good, I serve them really well. Like I learn everything about, serving someone from a divorce perspective, serving someone who's going through widowhood. I think if I can figure out how to do that well, I'll get business organically and it'll mean more. Right? It doesn't have to be this cast a net and hope all the fish swim in it. Like, do you want all those fish? Right? Is that authentic to you? And I felt that it was.
And because I promised the audience that, we were going to explain like what exactly a CDFA does, would you please share like in a nutshell, like why is that so special and how that differs from a certified financial planner?
Yes. So many people ask me, so I'll just answer the question. Have you been divorced? Is that why you went into becoming a CDFA? I have not. My best friend actually went through a divorce 3 months after she had gotten married. Very sad story. She was broken up. I was broken up, right? But I remember she called me one night crying and saying, Amanda, you help people all the time with their money, right? What does this divorce mean for me? We've only been married 3 months. But we've lived together for a long time. What does all of this mean? And I remember kind of being a deer in headlights, like, oh my gosh, I only help people that are happily married and have a bunch of money. I don't necessarily know how to help somebody financially plan when there's this huge traumatic life event. Somebody's mad, somebody's sad. I don't know. I don't even know what the proper steps are. And so I had to look at my best friend and say, I don't know. Wow. And I promised myself I would never look at a woman in distress and say, I don't know ever again. Sometimes I'll say, that's a really good question. Let me find the answer. But right. I never wanted to say, I don't know ever again. So it was like a week later, I signed up for the Certified Divorce Financial Analyst designation, which helps me to become part of a woman's divorce team. So I work in tandem with the client's divorce attorney.
Okay.
To ensure that she understands the financial implications of the marital settlement agreement that she's signing. Because so many times, if women don't get to me before they sign on that dotted line, they'll say, Amanda, I heard about you. This is what I signed. I can't really help after it's been signed. So, before the marital settlement agreement has been signed, we go through, like I said, the net worth, the cash flow, really making sure that woman understands this is what my financial picture will look like. And no, I'm not going to be a quote I hear all the time, a troll under a bridge eating sandwiches.
Oh dear.
I know. So it's a lot of education, a lot of financial literacy, which, again, as women, I don't think we have enough financial literacy kind of projects and initiatives. But it's work, and it's interesting work. And I always feel so blessed to have been part of a woman's journey when I see her come out on the other side.
Well, and to that point, have you come across women with pretty challenging money stories?
Oh gosh, yes. So many. So I can share. I always say there's kind of two spectrums and then the women that fall somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So, on the one hand, I have had, a client who was from a family, raised up in a family where dad handled the finances. There was wealth there, right? All good. It was a very charmed childhood and an young adult situation. She got married to another wealthy individual and never, ever in her entire life had to look at the checkbook, had to really look at the portfolio and say, what wealth is there left, right? It had never, ever been a concern. Huh. So when she met with me, it was an interesting journey to get her to kind of sit down and really look at her new portfolio, her new wealth that she was now in charge of on her own for the first time in her entire life. And say, listen, if we're not careful and we don't have a plan, we could run out. Like, you don't just get to write a check and more money appears, right? So, I've certainly had that, and that's blessed, but it's also challenging in its own to all of a sudden confront the fact that, oh my gosh, if I'm not careful, I could run out of money. And that had never been a concern for her in her entire life.
Wow.
Right? To, on the other hand, a woman who says, I hear that all the time, Amanda, I'm going to be a troll under the bridge eating peanut butter sandwiches. I'm not going to have any money, right? That woman could have $4 million. She could have $200,000. It has nothing to do with the dollar amount. It has to do with the feeling of security.
Yes.
Nothing to do with the dollar amount. So it really, for those women, it's sitting down and showing them their portfolio, right? Showing them their net worth, giving themselves that pat on the back of, this is what I walked away from my divorce with, that traumatic event. This is the nest egg I have. And if I take really good care of it with Amanda, I can keep living the life that I'm living right now. Sure, a couple adjustments here, sure, a couple adjustments there, but nothing life altering, right? You're not going to be eating peanut butter sandwiches under a bridge. But that is fear, the fear of being so uncertain about your money, right? So it's, there are those two. And again, those women that fall in the middle. But I think at the end of the day, everybody has challenges that they faced with money, and, really molds the way that they perceive money and wealth. Some people feel guilty when they talk about their wealth. Some people are uninterested in talking about their wealth. Some women are proud about it, right? Everybody has a way they feel, and it's all your money operating system and how that kind of fleshes itself out in your life.
Have you had people, when you talk about the guilt, maybe the guilt in sharing exactly what they give or how they give?
Yes. So it is interesting. Money guilt shows itself in so many different forms. And it's always interesting for me and a learning experience for me. Some people feel guilty for having too much. Some people feel guilty for not having enough. Some people feel guilty for giving their money, right, charitably, and then claiming that on their taxes. Or
give me an example. Is like offerings, like church offerings.
So, in some cultures, it is, a tithing. So giving your 10% to the church is just a way of life. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You give your 10%. That is a hard line budget item. And a lot of times in speaking with women, I'll say, why aren't we claiming that on our taxes? Or why aren't we acknowledging this somewhere? Right. And I'm always so, I don't know, shocked, I guess is the word, when I met with, no, that is a gift for my church, for the Lord. And I cannot then benefit from that. Right? If I give with intent to receive, then it is not a tithe. Which I then combat with, well, gosh, if we claim more, right? If you're claiming this, then that gives you a bigger pot of money because you're getting more back in taxes. And therefore you can then give to another charity or another church initiative. But there are some cultures and some clients I've had where that is a very, very tough money operating system to circumvent or push through.
So it really underscores the fact that, what the stories that we come to with, that people come to with, can be pretty powerful. And in some cases, even obstacles. I mean, I know from an estate planning standpoint, there are some people that have come to me that have a certain belief of the way things should be done and who should handle certain things. And it's your job as the advisor, in this case, my job as a counselor, to kind of shatter that mold and expose them to what could be. Here's what life on the other side could look like if you employed this method instead. Would that be of interest to you? Wouldn't that make you happier? Wouldn't that give you peace of mind? Right. And it's just opening and changing that mindset, which is a powerful thing.
Very, very. And I'm not going to lie and say it happens overnight. Some women that I've met with it, years down the line, we're finally starting to see a shift in their money operating systems and starting to see a shift in beliefs and values. And, but again, it's always so rewarding. I'm sure you feel the same way, to see her flourish on the other side. It's the best part of my job.
It's a beautiful thing. Amanda, there's so much synergy in what you do, and then how we at the firm develop estate planning strategies. Our approach is very client centered. It's client focused. It's not transactional. And at our firm, we are building what we hope are lifelong relationships. Because as I tell my clients, it's about not only empowering yourself, but I'm looking ahead 1-2 generations ahead. Wouldn't it be fabulous if a woman that you're helping today, that you helped move from confused, perhaps uninformed, unempowered, to a place of security, self-empowerment, and self-realization, to then have her bring her daughter to you and have you help her with the same transformation that she experienced? I believe that that's success to me. I mean, because I just love seeing when that happens. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, so many times when women do get to that point of, leaving the fear behind, right? Changing their money operating system into one of, oh my gosh, I can do this with my wealth. I can do this, right? I'm going to be okay. They do often have adult daughters that they're like, man, would you meet with her, Amanda? Because if I had this help, maybe I wouldn't have been in this position long term. So I'm a huge advocate for, just anyone, if you're a mom and you want to bring your daughter to the meeting, that's wonderful, right? I've had even moms who are younger be like, Amanda, are there any resources that I can give to my young daughter? So I have little coloring pages and, all that fun stuff. It is never too early to start talking to the young women in your life about money. It is never too early. I cannot, like my daughters, my oldest is always like, she calls me the wealth mom. Like, and she jokes when she's like talking on her fake phone, like, Mom, someone needs to talk to you about wealth. But she has a piggy bank.
I love it.
I love it too. But she has her own piggy bank. She knows that she needs to save some of her money, donate some of her money. She can spend some and have fun, right? But I think those conversations, you're never too late to have them, and it's never too early to have them.
I couldn't agree more. In the women that I'm blessed to serve, I mean, I love not only watching the transformation, the sense of relief, like when they have their, tailored estate plan presented to them, but also them telling me, you know what, my daughter is getting ready to go to college. I think she ought to sit down and have a conversation with you. It's just normalizing meeting with professionals. And the only way that it's going to happen is, as you said, doing it early. But we also, in our adult lives, we need to normalize reaching out to professionals because they're watching us. The younger generations are, they're watching us to see, is it typical for mom to meet with her financial advisor? Is it normal to talk about investments? Like I grew up, working class household. And there was no, Elsa, when you're older, we're going to have you meet our person at such and such, investment house. Yes. There wasn't that conversation. Mm-hmm. So it's really up to us to kind of change the narrative. How do we want not only to change our own lives, but if we've got little ones, and teenagers, what are we doing now to plant those seeds, to change and impact that next generation? So I just have just enjoyed this conversation so much. I was looking forward to it because we are aligned on so many levels, Amanda. But I really want to thank you. Before I forget, how can people get in contact with you? I'm going to put your email on screen, but how else can people connect with you and your company? Tell us a bit about the company you represent, WealthSpire.
Yes. So WealthSpire is a completely independent registered investment advisor. So you can reach me there. We're holistic financial planners and wealth management advisors. You can reach me right on my email right there, amanda.campbell@wealthspire.com, and Instagram at Amanda Campbell Wealth. And my sister and I also wrote a book. So the 360 action plan right up there.
Tell me, wait, because I don't want to blow through that. I did want to talk about that. We've got a couple minutes. So tell me a bit about the book. It's so exciting.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So my sister, I'm a wealth manager, financial planner. My sister is a nutrition coach and personal fitness instructor. So, we are best friends. That took a while to create the whole best friends thing from sisters, but we are now best friends. And we've found that our clients just were naturally the same type of person, right? Just women who wanted to regain control and wanted to put themselves first. So Michelle and I put a book together, the 360 action plan for women. Regarding.
And where can they get the book?
Yeah, on Amazon or your local bookstore. So you can have it ordered right from your local bookstore, shop local. But yes, it's a book about just putting yourself first from a wealth perspective, a fiscal, emotional, spiritual perspective, all of that. Because as women, we just don't do enough of that. So check out the book. We have our website, healthandwealthsisters.com as well. But yeah, a lot of fun things going on. Feel free to reach out via email. I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
I am thrilled. I'm happy for you with continued success with the book, with Wealthspire. I see nothing but good things in your future. And again, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that the audience has as well. Keep doing what you're doing. This show is about empowering women. The pillars of my law firm are education and empowerment. And that's why I saw such alignment with what you do. And, we've got to keep doing it one client, one family at a time. That's the only way that I believe that we're going to make an impact in the broader society. So Amanda Campbell, everyone, certified financial planner, certified divorce financial analyst, etc., etc., etc. I wish you nothing but success. And thank you so much and have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. This was lovely. Thank you so much.
Everyone, wasn't she wonderful? I knew she would be. I knew she had a lot of good information to share. And I hope that you have found that beneficial and learned something new. A certified divorce financial analyst. Pretty interesting, as I promise to always bring you people who are doing amazing things in their profession. And of course, what I do. I'm an estate planner. That is what I do. Wills and estate planning. If you are in Maryland or the District of Columbia and have a need for wills and estate planning strategic advice, I want you to give us a call. Our information is on the ticker, on the scroller there at the bottom of the screen. But give us a call. Set up a consultation. Explore what your options are. Let us move you from overwhelm to empowerment through estate planning. As I wrap up, I want to remind you to catch this on the replay, share it with people in your circle. And here's how you connect with us on social media. Obviously, this is streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Visit our YouTube channel. You're going to see a huge library of estate planning resources, all free. Click subscribe because we try to put out content every week. You can also go to my website, as you see there, elsawsmithlaw.com. Check out our blog. There are also free resources. So again, we're constantly trying to bring you resources and content to empower you, to help you get over whatever's stopping you from creating your estate plan and protecting yourself and your family. Everyone, I am Elsa W. Smith, your Maryland estate planning attorney, thanking you once again for joining me on Women Winning Wednesdays. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next week.